Hi, I am going to be showing you a technique that makes your picture look like scratch art. So I chose this dog, and he had some different things on his fur here, tags and stuff. So I just used the rubber stamp tool to kind of give him another fur texture. And it doesn't look that good, but if we do a scratch art, you're not going to notice. So the first thing I want to do is go down here to my layers and unlock the background. Okay. And I always make an extra copy just in case, and then turn off the eyeball just so that if I need to go back to it, I have it. Okay, so I want to fill this whole area with black. So I'm going to choose black here and get my paint bucket. And I erased my extra copy, so I'm going to make another one. So I want to keep this copy. This one's turned off, and here's my black layer. So the next thing I want to do is on my Wacom tablet, I have all these wonderful brushes that is going to let me actually either paint white or erase. And I'm going to work on erasing first because I think that's the simplest. So I'm going to turn on the eraser, and all of the Photoshop tools with the eraser are same as with the brushes. So I'm going to start off with kind of a small one, and I'm going to go out there and kind of see what size it is. Okay, so I moved to the black copy, and you can see that it is erasing. I'm going to go backwards. But before I do that, I want to kind of see what I'm working on. So I want to be able to see the dog just a little bit. So on this layer 0 copy, the black, I want the opacity to be about 50%. And whoops, look what I did. Good thing I copied it because I messed that one up. I always do. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the opacity so that I can see through it a little bit. And with scratch art, all you're going to do is use different brushes to kind of scratch away the black. So this one is 7 pixels. I'm going to try that one first. So take a look at your photo and decide if if the fur or feathers are going in a certain direction. And if they become smaller, you can use just little dots. And you can already see over here that it's just erasing through the black, and the fur is going in a little different direction now. So I'm just following it around his face. And don't try to hurry too much. It will really, really look better if you go slow and watch what you're doing, and sort of be observant of the texture of the fur and where the dark spaces are. So wherever there's dark spaces, I want to scratch through less, like this. I'm going to do tiny little dots as opposed to these big ones because I want to maintain some dark. And we don't want the whole black cover to be gone. We just want to do a scratch art where it's kind of peeking through. Use shorter brushes here and here where it's dark. Little brushes. And then in here where I want it lighter, I can use bigger brushes. Now there's some really cool brushes we can try out. If I look down here, I can scroll through, and there's some that you can change the spacing. So you're just getting little swatches, and you can change the size. So you can kind of experiment with things like, what does this look like? Well, that might be really cool for something dreamy and fairy-like, but that's probably not what I want for this. So I'm going to go back. And the nice thing is if you keep your history open, you can always go back. So I'm going to try some other little, maybe this one would look good. And I'm going to again separate it and space it a little further. You can see here that I've spaced it a little further. And let's see what this looks like. So that might give me that kind of tufted look of the fur that this has. I'm going to pull them a little closer together again, just for a change in texture. And so I would keep working on blending this, but if you go over here to the little smear finger and choose blur, you can just softly blur these together so they don't stand out so much. And you can also use your smudge tool to gently smear them so they look more fluffy around his chest. That's kind of his fur, looks a little different there. And pull those out. I am going to go back to my original brush that I was using and go back to my original size of about 7 or 6 pixels, depending on where I'm drawing. And just keep, oops, I need to choose my eraser again and go back to my paintbrush. Because I was on paintbrush and not on eraser for a minute there. And that's too big. So I'm going to go back one. And yeah, I'm going to change that down to about 3 pixels up here. So I think you get the idea of what you need to do to fill this all in. I'm going to go very lightly and gently in this area because we want to keep that the darkness in the shadow. And pull out the little hairs that stick out a little bit. So as soon as I'm finished with this ear, I'm going to go ahead and change the opacity so you can see how your painting's coming along. Okay, so opacity level right here, and I'm going to drag it up to 100%, and you can see that your painting's kind of looking pretty cool. I'm probably going to go over this because the contrast is a little bit too much, so I will drag an eraser in and make this match a little bit more. So every once in a while, just stop and check by changing your opacity to see where you're at. So right now I'm going back to do exactly what I said. Go in the direction of the fur, just a little at a time. And so I'm going to go ahead and finish up this scratch art and speed it up so you don't have to wait for me to finish this. You will just see the final.